So, an interesting thing was going on yesterday. So I'm coming home. In the schedule started being released. And there were some start times being shown by some teams and not by others. Now, it doesn't look like they've been 100% confirmed. So, as much as I would like to have start times on the board, I don't. But boy, howdy, are we in for some long days. If we get a lot of overtime in this play in round, man. Now, again, the NHL is confirming that if you do not win your play in round, you count as not having made the playoffs. That's the justification behind the playoff lottery or the draft lottery working the way that it did. And people are already saying, well, why didn't they just delay the draft lottery till August 10th? Because they want people talking about hockey before hockey comes back. So August 1st, we get 5 games, and they're all play-in games. We get the Rangers in Carolina, Chicago and Edmonton, Florida and the Islanders, Montreal and Pittsburgh, and Winnipeg and Calgary. So, if you are a Canadian hockey fan, you'll notice they're keeping it so that you've got Canadian teams on any day of the week. So, the first day back, 4 of the teams out of 10 that are playing are Canadian. So, there you go. Hockey Night in Canada will be happy, and that's a Saturday night. And then on Sunday, you get 2 round-robin games. So, that's why I'm saying it could be some long days. These are all play-in games. Day 2, we finally get some round-robin games. Philadelphia, Boston, Minnesota, and Vancouver. And what I did for this, too, is I put them in the order that they're shown on the NHL website, because that may very well be the schedule as which it ends up happening that day. So this could be earliest game to latest game. So Vancouver, Minnesota starts on the 2nd after the round-robin game of Philadelphia and Boston. Arizona will play Nashville in the first game there. St. Louis plays against the Colorado Avalanche in a round-robin game, and the Toronto Maple Leafs and Columbus Blue Jackets start their play-in round. So you got Toronto and Vancouver both starting up. So 2 out of 10 games, or 10 teams that play that day, are Canadian. August 3rd, and that's a Monday, and this is where we start with the 6 games a day. And it could potentially be 6 games a day right up until the end. So it's 5 games a day on the weekend, and then we get to the 6th. Dallas is going to be playing Vegas. The New York Rangers playing Carolina in Game 2. Winnipeg and Calgary Game 2. Washington will play Tampa Bay. Montreal, Pittsburgh have Game 2. And Chicago and the Oilers also have Game 2. So, conspicuous by their absence, the Islanders in Florida, who play the next day. I will say this, it's going to be weird to see playoff games in back-to-back nights. And this happens numerous times with numerous series here. It's a situation where you could see the intensity being really, really, really ramped up. But we could also see a situation where a team plays into a double overtime and then they have to play again the next night. And that can, yeah. I mean, thinking back to the 80s when I was a kid, I thought they played back-to-back games, but now I look at those old schedules and I go, I don't think they did, but felt like they played back-to-backs for games 1 and 2, took a day off, played games 3 and 4. I know that's not how it works, but when I was a kid, I thought that was what was going on. August 4th, Vancouver and Minnesota have Game 2, and there's Game 2 between the Islanders and Florida. The Arizona Coyotes and Nashville Predators play as well. Rangers, Carolina, Winnipeg, and Calgary, and the Columbus Blue Jackets in Toronto. And that means that all 6 games on August 4th, which is a Tuesday, are play-in games. So, yeah, the round-robin games, there's not one that day. So all of the play-in games, remember, have playoff overtime rules. That it's you go until there's a goal. The round-robin games have just your regular overtime and a shootout possibility. And they're just playing to see who the number 1 through number 4 seeds in each conference are going to be. And it'll be interesting to see those turn out, certainly. But those games at least have a realistic shot at being done within 3 hours. Whereas, yeah, this could make for a very, very, very long day. Then on Wednesday, August 5th, we've got 2 round-robin games here at the top, which is Tampa Bay and Boston, Colorado and Dallas. And then the Islanders in Florida play Game 3 here. So they go from having an extra day off to playing back-to-backs. Nashville and Arizona have back-to-back as well. Pittsburgh and the Montreal Canadiens, the Oilers, and Chicago. So Nashville and Arizona play 3 games in 4 days. But they're not the only ones, like I've been saying. On the 6th, so again on a Thursday, Vancouver will play Minnesota. That's game 3. St. Louis then plays against Vegas in a round robin game, followed by Calgary playing the Winnipeg Jets. Washington plays the Philadelphia Flyers. That's a round robin game. Carolina plays the Rangers, and Toronto plays against Columbus. So Toronto going to be a busy team because then they play a back-to-back. So they play on the 2nd, the 4th, the 6th, and then on the 7th. But again, what I like with this setup, no one fan base can say, well, that's not fair because they're tired. They're all going to be tired. On the 7th, Vancouver has their back-to-back against Minnesota. The Oilers play Chicago. Nashville plays Arizona. Pittsburgh plays Montreal. The Islanders play Florida, and then Toronto plays the Columbus Blue Jackets. So again, a lot of Canadian content there. Then we reach Saturday on the 8th. Boston's against Washington. Vegas is against Colorado. Chicago's against Edmonton. Winnipeg and Calgary. Montreal, Pittsburgh, Rangers, and Carolina. My brain might be melting down because of the amount of logos on the board. It's a madness board for the schedule, which is weird. Now, this is where the genius of the round robin comes in. And yeah, I'm going to call it genius. You know why? Because we don't go without hockey games. So let's say that Toronto wins this 1-3. So they win on the 2nd, they win on the 4th, they win on the 6th. Good. They're now off until the 10th or 11th. And if all of these series end up going to sweeps, that's fine because the NHL has round robin games on the 8th and on the 9th to pad things out and to make sure there's still hockey on television. So that's actually a smart way of doing things. Now, you have the 2 round robins, you have the 4 other games underneath. This tells me that the round robins may very well be the ones that go first. But again, we'll see. We'll see how the NHL actually does this. So the last day possible for round 1 is the 9th. Vancouver's at home. See, this is just that's your instinct going. The team that's on the right's at home, and I mean they've put it that way on the site, but they're not really at home because Edmonton and Toronto are the only teams that are at home. Vancouver is against Minnesota. That's game 5 there, of course, and then you have St. Louis and Dallas, which is nice. I gotta say. They've got Boston, Washington, which is always a good game on the 8th. And then on the 9th, you've got St. Louis and Dallas. So, good idea. Nashville against Arizona. Tampa Bay against Philly. They've had their fun games over the years. Florida and the Rangers. Florida and the Islanders play on the 9th. And then Toronto and Columbus is the last one listed on the board. So it may very well be the last game played in the Eastern Hub. And I could see that. We will get the times on Monday, apparently, is when we'll know the times and the TV schedule. And then at that point, I will look at the play-ins and I will start doing series previews. August 10th is the draft lottery. And that, of course, is phase 2. Again, we do kind of wish that they had just the one phase, that maybe they had the draft lottery just on August 10th, and then there wouldn't have been, well, there still would have been a lot of complaining, but maybe it wouldn't have been nearly as much. So yeah, there you go. It's going to be a busy schedule. You're going from the 1st to the 9th, so you're going to play 5 games over 9 days at the very most, and it's going to get kind of crazy because, again, these play-in rounds, these round robins, we won't know who is going to play who probably until about the 8th. I'm going to say the 8th, maybe the 9th. We won't know who's going to play who until the 9th, which is part of the reason why they went away from 1 versus 8, because networks didn't like not knowing who was going to play against who, not being able to build it up, not being able to advertise it. And with divisional matchups, you could advertise it. And then you also had the blood feuds you have with divisional matchups that you don't necessarily get with 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7. Not right out of the gate anyways. Eventually we get there, but not right out of the gate. All right, there you go. There's the schedules. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And yep, we are 3 weeks from today away from hockey being back. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.